Welcome to Federal Brace and another installation video. Today we're bringing you our video series on installing our Eleuthera decorative corbels. These can be used to support your countertops in your kitchens, or today we're going to show you how to install to support a vanity in a bathroom. We have a small space here, so you may hear me speaking off camera because we can't fit everybody in here. A little bit about the bracket is it is stainless steel. It also comes in raw steel and powder coated black. If you get it in steel, you can paint it the color that will match your decor yourself using a Rust-Oleum spray paint. And we have another video in our series that will show you how to do that. It has a nice scrolling gusset that will give you the appearance of a more traditional corbel that some people like, while still remaining thin and sleek, and the gusset also gives you the additional support that you need to hold the weight of a stone and a sink. At this time we're going to turn this over to Trip Lipinski with Lewis & Sons, and he's going to show us how to install these corbels so that they'll support our countertop.
Now what we're going to show you today is how to install the Eleuthera bracket. This is going to be is a little vanity top for a bathroom sink. So here's our top right here turned upside down. This is a piece of granite. And what you want to do is you want to put the bracket on the top as it's going to go, which is here, this flush with the back. And here, once again, that flush with the back. Then you usually on granite you use a 1-inch overhang right here. So you measure an inch here, figuring your bracket, and an inch to straighten it up. Same thing on the other side. Then you want to measure the distance between the brackets, the outside distance between the brackets. This particular setup seems to be 23 3/4. So what we're going to do now, we're going to come over on the wall and we're going to take our measurement. We've already predetermined our height for a typical sink is 30 inches high for a typical cabinet for a vanity. So the granite is 1 1/4 inches thick. So we come up to the height of 28 3/4, which after we put the granite on there, that will finish out at 30 inches. So I've come up at 28 3/4. And I've made a level mark. Sorry about that. We've made a level mark at 23 or 28 3/4. So we've come here and we've made a line, a level line. And then since we measured the distance at 23 3/4, you come in on this particular one, you would want to center up off of where the drain line is going to be. So you'd center up and then you'd measure 11 3/4, really 11 7/8 each way, and that will line you up at 23 3/4. So you make those two marks and want to level down from there. Put another line. Same thing on this side, and another line. Now that gives you, when you had the brackets laid up on the granite, that gives you your outside frame of where the brackets want to be. So now you take a bracket, the little trick that I use is, since the bracket is curved back here in the back, it's hard to get that part to line up with the line. So what I do is put something on that has a straight edge to it. You line that up with the line like so, and you line this line up like so, and you're ready to mark your holes. So you take a pencil, mark each hole, do the exact same thing on the other side, and then you are ready to drill your holes.
Now Trip, is it important that you be installing the bracket into a stud in the wall?
In this particular application that we're doing right now, this is a plaster wall. We've pre-checked, we've drilled with smaller holes and it checked, and there's actually no wood back behind there. So what we're going to have to do on this application is we're going to have to use toggle bolts. Drill through the plaster and the toggle bolt holes on the back side of the plaster.
Now, as Tripp was just sharing with us, this installation is going into a plaster wall, and we're using toggle bolts to prevent the brackets from pulling out of the wall. If this installation was going in new construction or a remodel where you had access to the studs, you want to make sure that your brackets are installed into a stud. If a stud is not there and it's new construction where you want to place your bracket, make sure you install some additional blocking so that you have enough material for your screw that's installing the bracket to bite into to hold the weight that you're going to be placing on it with your top. Again, in this case, we're installing in plaster and using toggle bolts. You would want to use anchors as well and drywall, but don't just install in drywall. You need to always make sure that you have blocking or a stud if your installation has that available.
You want to use a 1/4 inch bolt to install the bracket. So what I've got is 1/4 inch toggle bolts. What you're going to have to do is you got to drill a hole. You have a 1/4 inch bolt. It calls for usually about a 1/2 inch size hole to be able to fit the toggle through. But the 1/4 inch fits just perfectly in the bracket. So that's why you want to use that. Now, you just drill the holes. You need to drill a pilot hole first, a test hole with a smaller bit, to make sure that one, what you're landing into, whether you're hitting wood, whether you're not hitting wood, and two, that there's nothing else back behind the wall that you possibly could drill through. You need to make sure that when you're putting it in a bathroom situation, that you test and make sure you're not, that these particular water lines are exposed, but that you don't drill into the drain line. Alrighty, when we were drilling those, this one particular one hit an edge of a stud. So I'm not going to be able to use the toggle right there. I'll have to use a bolt, a wood screw. So now what you want to do is you want to put the, let's see, make sure, okay, this one. Put the toggle bolt through and screw it on just a little bit. Try to get the little screw head to stick out past the toggle. You make sure the springs are working. You see how these two are close together when you have this application? What you want to do when you spring them in is make sure that they're turned this way so they spring back like this, and not where they're turned this way so they spring against each other. Alrighty, and I didn't put one in this one because I'm going to have to put a wood screw in that one. Alright, now that we have the holes drilled, you push the toggle together, push it through the hole, and let it pop. Typically did what plaster did, it cracked. We're going to have to fix that after we get the bracket installed. On a toggle, you just pull on it as you're tightening it, it pulls it against the back of the wall. It's easier to do it with your hands because you can pull and tighten at the same time. You try to use a tool you want to put, it wants to push in, and the toggle will spin back behind the wall. Now that you got the toggles somewhat tightened, then you want to line it up back up on your marks, which is about there. You never really want to tighten the toggle with a piece of equipment like a drill or whatever. You kind of want to do them by hand because you can over tighten and snap the toggle in the back. You can get it clean tight enough with just a regular screwdriver.